Welcome to This Week at Four Horsemen. I am Ryan O'Loughlin, and joining me this week is perhaps my most powerful co-host yet, Alex.
Wow, I have not heard that since I was like in 5th grade. I am so glad you have brought that out of retirement.
Heard what? So, Alex, what is This Week at Four Horsemen?
This Week at Four Horsemen is our weekly show to discuss the events, sales, promotions, and all of the wonderfully nerdy things that we do here at the Four Horsemen.
Star Wars.
Oh, God. Please.
And we're going to start off this episode with a comment contest that will be going live on our social medias tomorrow morning. Check this out. Throw a comment on here, and hopefully you'll win a gift card. The contest is, what would you do to make this go away? That'll be up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Put your comments on there. We'll pick a winner live on next week's show. Now, to get that off the screen, Alex.
Yeah, that's horrible. That is absolutely horrible.
All right, on to comics. All right, we've got our first one. This is the second issue of Farmhand, which is from Image, I believe. And we talked about the first issue when it came out. It was about a guy who walked on a farm.
Yeah, it was growing people.
It was all the hands. Parts.
Yeah, all the hands were sticking up.
Now, I didn't get to read issue 1 yet. I'm going to at some point. But the synopsis for this one, it seems like it actually has a little bit of a story aside from just gross stuff. But this, I couldn't not include it with this image here.
I mean, is that what you call chopping wood?
I don't know. I'm stumped.
Yeah.
And then we have a book that you're excited for.
I'm very excited. Sandman Universe #1. And just looking at the cover, you're trying to figure out, you've got Cain and Abel on here. But this, to me, I think is the most interesting one. This looks like Lucifer. And so I'm wondering how this is all going to come into play and bring in. So I cannot wait to hopefully tomorrow, to get my copy.
Quick note, we did not receive our comics today because of a shipping error. We should have them tomorrow. We just won't have them at open. So if you normally come in early in the morning, I might call before you do it. If you come in the evening, you should be good to go. And also, a new Sandman book doesn't happen every week. It's not like Spider-Man. No. So if you're looking to get into Sandman, definitely check this one out. Or if you're a fan of the older comics,
right? Yeah, you're not going to have Sandman 1000.
Yes, of course,
by any stretch.
And speaking of old comics coming out with a new book, there's a new run of Fantastic Four now. Fantastic Four is one of the big Marvel titles, but they don't have quite the volume of books that some other Marvel titles have, and they've been kind of out of the action for a while, since Secret Wars, I believe, and this is kind of their return to the Marvel universe. And Marvel actually, in the description for this, Marvel says, if you only read one Marvel book this month, make it this one, which, Fantastic Four, I'm not sure about that, but, just the fact that they said that, I'm a little curious. And also, Reed looks great in that beard.
I swear he gets older and older every time these comics coming out, but no one else does.
Yeah, I think Reed Richards just works as an older character.
Yeah, but he was married to Sue.
That's kind of creepy.
And he's now looking 60. She's still looking
older.
20.
Yeah, I know. It's like, now he's 60, she's 16. It's like, all right, Marvel, let's move on. Speaking of Spider-Man, there is the annual that's coming out this week, and in celebration of the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out later this year, this is a Miles Morales book. So if you're a big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man, definitely pick up the annual this year.
All right, look at this picture for me. Doesn't this look feminine?
Yes.
Is this the female Spider-Man?
No, he's a man. His name is Miles. It does. I mean, I think it's just an artistic choice. But I definitely see very slender legs. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just the way it's drawn. It just doesn't scream Spider-Man.
I think they made a choice.
Yeah,
and it is what it is.
Yeah, I do like the rest of the way they've done the.
I like the red on the black, and it looks cool. Yeah,
and you've got
Green Goblin there. I think
they're all Green Goblin. Yeah, but all just different angles.
Yeah, they're all Green Goblin.
Speaking of Green Goblin, the little thing he flies on, his little board. Do you know they have that for real now? It's actually based on 2 miniature jets, and it can go up to 3,000 feet in height and can go 100 miles an hour.
I think I saw something about that on CNN.
I watched a video of them doing their test runs on it, and it was absolutely amazing.
I think I watched that too, and then I saw the price, and I was like,
yeah, well, it's not something I'm personally going to own, but it's cool.
I mean, maybe I'll sell our home and
it's like a couple kidneys.
Yeah, that'll be fine. And then from the world of Star Wars, we have the newest issue of Darth Vader. If you're not reading Darth Vader, it's probably the best Star Wars book out there, and one of the better Marvel books. Is super cool. This is dealing with him hunting down various Jedi in between Episode 3 and Episode 4, and just making sure they're all ended. So,
well, this reminds me a lot of the original Star Wars.
That's what it's a parody of.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and they've been knocking it out of the park with covers recently, for sure. Yes. And then we have a staff pick.
Yes, the staff pick, well, actually, it might help if I let you read the word staff pick, is The Expanse. I know you haven't started watching it yet, but The Expanse it was on Sci-Fi, but it's also on streaming, so you can get it on Amazon right now on streaming. They've done 3 seasons of it, and it's a great science fiction show. It's based on a series of books. I think there's 7 books in total now in the series, and they're planning on, I think, 3 more. By the way, you can get them all as audiobooks.
So you know who reads them?
Not off the top of my head.
Is it Will Wheaton?
No, it is not Will Wheaton.
I'll Google it. Keep talking.
Okay. But what it is, it's set about 200 years in the future. We've colonized the solar system, and you have kind of 3 factions. You have Mars, you have the Earth, and you have the OPA, which is the people out in the planets who, born and raised out there and have no real allegiance to either Earth or Mars. And the whole thing starts off with a...
Jefferson Mays. I don't know who that is.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
But it starts off with an ice hauler that has a catastrophic failure, and lots of people die. The ship explodes and everything. But it turns out to be a kind of a pivotal point and almost a war-causing point between the Earth and Mars, and that just starts the conflict. And one of the greatest things about this as a sci-fi show is, unlike Star Wars, Star Trek, and things like that, they actually play off of the physics that are, as we know them, about space travel. So
Star Wars has real physics. Never mind.
And so, I mean, like when their ships are going in between the planets and stuff, they actually have to, everybody has to get into their seats and buckle in, because they have to turn and do a deceleration burn and stuff like that. And so you're dealing with high G's and you're dealing with stuff like that.
So
the magnetic boots.
In your science fiction.
There's a lot of science in it, and it's really phenomenal how they do it and put it together and keep it so that all of that stuff is there, but they don't lose the story. And the character development is excellent. The political intrigue. I almost compare the political intrigue to Dune. Did you ever read Dune or listen to Dune?
Not recently.
Okay. But that level of political intrigue between all of the different governments and stuff, trying to decide how they're going to, take everybody over.
One of my favorite images that I've ever seen on the internet is one that's, when 2 ships meet in Star Trek, it always shows them like this.
Yeah.
And I saw an image on the internet once that said, if it was real, then the ships would meet like this.
There would be no up and down, and one would probably be upside down, and this one's like here,
exactly.
I mean. But yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. Season 4 was Sci-Fi passed. And there became a huge community outcry. And the funny thing is, one of the fans of the show is Jeff Bezos of Amazon. And he let everybody have a week of trying to figure out who was going to pick it up. And when nobody picked it up in a week, he said, Amazon Prime will pick it up for the 4th.
These streaming services they're the future. They're picking up old shows that have been over for a decade. They're picking up shows that the major networks are killing, and then they say, okay, we'll buy you for another season. And
bringing that whole fan base in, it's quite amazing to watch how they're doing it and what they're doing with it and stuff. And plus, he has agreed to allow Alcon, the people who actually do the financing and the development of it, full reign.
Yeah, they can give the creators more creative license because they don't have to syndicate it.
Right, and it's really, really impressive with what they're doing with it. So I'm very happy that they're picking it up.
Definitely a cool show. And speaking of cool things, we're moving on to the Four Horsemen Versus series, where last week we had a tussle. So that bag of bones won on Facebook, which is where the majority of our discussion takes place. However, when you take into account all the votes via Twitter and Instagram, Jessica Jones won this battle by a single vote.
Oh.
Well, I mean, come on. She's got super strength and he's a skeleton.
Yeah, but he's also a rather clever skeleton, and she's not that clever.
I disagree. I think she's pretty smart when she's not drunk. Okay, so she's probably all right.
He went with a couple of martinis and met up with her.
Yeah, she's been drinking Jack Daniels since she woke up at 2 this afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that happens. Who won our comment contest?
Kent Weaver won our comment contest. His comment was, There's only one way this will work in Skeletor's favor, like in all of his other battles, using his greatest tactic ever, running away.
Yep, I would tend to agree. And then this week, the eclectic matchups continue with Poison Ivy versus Popeye. And I gotta say, I think the obvious choice here is Poison Ivy. My first thought, does Popeye hit women?
That's the thing. He was always the gentleman. I mean, especially when he came that whole cultural thing he came from.
I'm not sure if you put him in a ring with her, if he would touch her. I think he'd just let her lay him out.
Yeah, but he also that green spinach. He might chow down and forget himself for a moment.
Somebody in the comments, and this will probably be our winner for next week, said that she's just going to grow some poison spinach. Want some spinach?
Here's some spinach. See if you can beat me.
Fight over. Dead.
That's the end of it.
Yeah, so I imagine
Lord have mercy.
I imagine how that's going to go. So moving on to events, we have a whole sloth of them going on this week, and you can see our calendar image in front of you. If you need more details on any of these, please go to facebook.com/4horsemencomics and click on the events tab. We're going to take you through some of our bigger ones this week. And what do we have first, Alex?
First off, we have the HeroClix Days of Future Past.
One of my favorite X-Men comics.
Of course. Wednesday, 6:45 p.m. It's a $3 entry, the modern age format, 300-point event. And check out the events page for all the team building rules to make sure that you're
This one's a little more complicated. Nick came up with some pretty cool stuff that's going on. Normally, it's just like, you have to choose characters from a certain theme, but there's a little bit more going on with this one, so definitely check out the event page. And then our big thing for this week, Magic 2018 Commander decks release this Friday. We are going to have those on sale. They are, I believe the MSRP on those puppies is $35 a piece, or you can get all of them for $140. And then, let's see, we've got casual events going on all weekend long. If you play in an event this Friday night during F&M, you get a free booster pack, and these are free pods. If you play with a pre-constructed deck, you get 2 free booster packs, and that's pretty cool. I don't know a lot of gaming stores that just give you booster packs to come and play in a free event. But we also have free pods of Commander going on all Saturday and Sunday. Whenever you play in one, you can get a ticket to be entered in a raffle for a free Commander deck. Full details for all of this is on the event page, so definitely check this out. Plus, also, these decks are really cool. Everybody's super excited. It's always one of the biggest releases of the year. Don't miss out.
All right, and Warhammer, the 40K Kill Team event is coming up this Saturday at 11 o'clock. It's a brand new 40K game, so get in on the ground floor, learn the rules, get some characters, and come and start killing things.
Yeah, and if you haven't joined it, in Kill Team yet, then you can still come out to this event and we can kind of give you the lowdown, give you a demo, watch some people play, maybe get in a game yourself. Just check it out. It's really cool, and it's going fast. So get in early for sure. And then also this Sunday at 2 p.m. we have our first ever Dice Masters Cube Draft. It's going to be this Sunday at 2 o'clock. $3 to play. If you're not familiar with Cube, it's something that happens with Magic where you design your own draft format, where instead of using booster packs to draft, you choose the cards that you want to use, you put them all in the same sleeve, and then you deal out your own booster packs, like 15 card packs, and then you draft like that. And obviously with Dice Masters, since there's dice involved, it's a little more complicated. But once again, Truby has all of the details lined out on the event page, so you can definitely check it out there, and I'm sure you can hit him up on social media as well. Don't ask me because I have no idea. I'm just the guy who does this. But also, big things. We are going to be at a little event this weekend.
Just a little event.
Yeah, well,
I can't imagine there'd be that many people there.
There's usually 3 or 4 people that show up. This thing is Steel City Con, which is one of the biggest comic book conventions in the area. It's this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Monroeville Convention Center. And we are 95% sure that we are going to be there vending at this thing. We do have a table. We're having some staffing issues, but we should be there. And even if we're not, you should go anyway because it's a ton of fun. There's lots of great guests that they have at these things run. Perlman's going to be there. John Cusack is going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yes. Yes, please.
I want to see Ron Perlman. I want to see John Cusack.
That'd be cool. And they always have these lines where you can stand in line and have them sign stuff. Last time I went to one, I was in line to meet Biff from Back to the Future, and I hopped over and cut in front of the line for the 2 kids who played Fred and George Weasley, and I almost got kicked out of the convention. So yeah, it was a ton of fun. Don't miss out on Steel City Con, and make sure to come by our table. We're going to have lots of cool items that we don't normally have on the store, and definitely some special deals. Good time to get some stuff cheap.
We expect to see you there.
Yes.
Do not disappoint us.
Do not. And now we're moving on to Alex's favorite segment of all time.
Ooh.
This week in Star Wars, where I managed to dredge up. Now, this didn't actually happen this week, but it happened recently. If you're not familiar with the Star Wars show, it is the official Star Wars show that comes out almost weekly on YouTube. And they recently did a special episode where they discussed, essentially, they ripped off our idea. The Versus series, they stole it from us.
Bastards.
Lucas! And they discussed Deadpool.
Actually, it would be Disney, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Lucas Studios, Lucasfilm. Deadpool versus Boba Fett. Who wins? I'm going to give you the first jab here, even though I know we're on the same team.
Well, we all know Deadpool wins. Boba Fett just loses his balance and falls off of a barge into a big sand pit and can't seem to get out. Deadpool, on the other hand, jumps off of bridges and lands directly in the sunroof of a moving car and proceeds to kick butt. I'm pretty sure he's okay.
He's one of 7 people that jump out of a moving plane with gale force winds blowing, and he's the only one that doesn't die aside from the mutant whose mutant powers are luck. So, and then Boba Fett can't balance on a boat long enough to save his own life. Gets knocked off by a blind guy with a stick.
Yeah, there's no question there. Boba Fett, as cool as he may be in the greater Star Wars universe, he was such a buffoon in that movie.
Yeah, and
he really was.
As much as I'd like to take the Star Wars side of every argument, I can't. I
win one finally.
I love Mandalorians. I love the armor, and there are definitely stories where Boba Fett is cool, but I really just think in terms of his role in those 2 movies, it's just a little overhyped. Send your hate mail to 4horsemencomicsandgaming@gmail.com. If you actually watch the show, they come up with the same conclusion. So
hey,
and it's the Star Wars show. So I guess that's all we have to say about that. But
all right,
it's pretty funny. Check it out.
Hey, this week in movies, we've got a cinematic masterpiece being released this weekend,
starring one of the greatest talents of our age, Jason Statham. I'm Jason Statham. I talk like this.
And he doesn't drive a car. I'm so disappointed.
He drives a shark. Probably a submarine.
Oh, God. And you know what gets me? Is they released the Meg, if they had released it 2 weeks ago, it would have been during Shark Week.
Greatest missed opportunity of all time.
I think so.
Yes.
They even mentioned Shark Week in the movie. They could have had the perfect tie-in that, the whole universe would have exploded because they're on Shark Week mentioning Shark Week.
Yep. That is some Deadpool-esque fourth wall breaking stuff. Right now. Yeah. And then also coming out this week, a movie that I'm particularly excited about is the Slender Man movie. Is finally being released. Slender Man.
Is this about the new diet craze? It's all about ketosis or something.
Yeah. This is actually going to be featured on Oprah tomorrow.
Oh, okay, perfect.
She's going to tell us all the best diet tips. And apparently, this guy is taking really hot showers.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of steam.
It really is. It really is. I don't even want to say anything else about this movie anymore.
Okay.
No.
I think we've nailed it. We've given our review. Haven't even seen it yet, but we've nailed it.
Yes. Yeah. Steamy hot movie. All right. Moving on to the Four Horsemen mailbag.
Steaming hot something.
Where our viewer submitted question this week was, if you could choose one post-apocalyptic story and make it a reality, which would it be and why? I thought you had a good answer.
You had asked me this earlier to kind of think about this, and of all the things, you've got The Walking Dead. You remember the Book of Eli, that movie and stuff. And most of the ones that I saw out there were always everything goes bad. Mm-hmm. It never really gets better. It's just kind of bad. And the only one that kind of came to my mind, I was like, I'd love to see this one come true because it's kind of a recovery, a post-apocalypse.
Starts bad and then gets better.
Is The Postman. It was a David Brin novel that they made into a Kevin Costner movie.
Great movie.
And it actually gives that opportunity for everything is horrible, the post-apocalyptic, but people start coming back together and start building a community. But it's not zombies or anything, but they kind of reestablish society and culture and everything, and I just liked how it was done. Yeah, much better than Waterworld, his other post-apocalyptic flop.
It's a
$100 million.
Flip.
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
That was bad.
What was yours?
So my first thought was I went the more anime route. My first thought was the Big O.
Ooh,
So if you're
I
unfamiliar with Big O,
thought about that one.
It's an anime. It's a mech anime that's inspired by Batman the Animated Series. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where basically Earth is a wasteland, and what few settlements of humanity are left all live in these basically biodome bubbles where they're the only places that can sustain life. And the main character is Roger Smith, who's essentially Bruce Wayne, but instead of being Batman, he has a giant mech that he fights crime with. And so my first thought was Big O, because I'm a big mech guy, and I would just love to pilot the Big O. But then I had this other thought. My wife and I have been rewatching Attack on Titan, and I just think that the ODM, like the zero gravity things they use, are the coolest, and I would love to use one of those. But what if we combine the two, and I used the mech from Big O to fight the Titans?
Well, there you go. That would probably go really quickly then.
Yeah, it would. I would imagine. Yeah. As long as I didn't have to fight the Colossal Titan.
But even then, I think Big O could take him.
Yeah, I mean, he could find a way. Yeah. Maybe with Roger Smith piloting. I don't know
of course, yeah. Well, you'd be along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd be excited for either of those possibilities or the mix of the two. Yes, we are moving on to our Did You Know for Horsemen. Did you know that we carry in stock the Reaper Bones D&D minis? Now, if you're not familiar with them and if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, listen up. So Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Dungeons and Dragons, does release minis that you can use in the game. They are hard to order. They're kind of expensive. They're really nice. But there's this other company called Reaper that makes dozens and dozens of minis that are really easy for us to order. We have them in stock all the time, and they're cheap. They come at they're good quality. They don't break very easily. You can paint them yourself or just leave them pure white. They're really great. We have some in stock now. We order them all the time if there's specific ones that you want. And if you're into D&D and you've been using Wizards of the Coast or other brand of minis, check out Reaper Bones minis. They're really great. Highly recommend them, and we'll be glad to show them to you in the store anytime.
Hey, did you know we have a sale?
We do have a sale, and it's a simple one, but it's one that I appreciate. Trades are 25% off. That's a quarter. That is 1/4 of the price gone.
And considering the price of trades these days, I was quite amazed.
Price of comics in general is.
I know. I
I
actually
hear there used to be a dime.
I actually have some comics from my original collection that actually 25 and 35-cent comics, and I remember buying those. I used to go to the grocery store, and they had the little spinning rack that was up by the front thing, and my mom would go shopping, and I would stand at the spinning rack and read as many comic books as I could to take her to shopping. But I remember buying 25.
So for you, that was like all of them.
Yeah, kind of. Every week I'd catch up. But I have 25 and 35-cent comics. And now, I mean, one of the titles I just picked up was $5.95. And I'm like, that's it's 20 pages. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was a kid, which, was relatively much sooner than when you were a kid, I remember buying comics for $1 at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And so that's a six times increase in 20 years.
Yeah.
So
and so the trades these days, getting 25% off the trades is a great way, and especially if you're trying to get into a storyline and you can't go and find all the individual issues, pick up the trades, and it gives you a whole succinct storyline in one book.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, trades, we refer to trade paperbacks. Those are essentially just collections of comics bound into a paperback book. They generally, even without the discount, they're cheaper than buying the individual issues. They're easier to loan out. They're a more comfortable read. They sit on a shelf and look better. I buy all my comics in trades mostly, so highly recommend. Somebody's sending us a lot of likes. I appreciate that, whoever that is. All right, we're moving on to our social medias, but don't go anywhere. But we have a very special post-credit scene or a collection of quotes that we can't talk about. We really just can't talk about them. Please like us at facebook.com/4horsemancomics. Follow us on Instagram at 4horsemancomics. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/4horsemancomicsgaming. Follow us on Twitter at the number 4horsemancomics. Watch all our streaming content at twitch.tv/4horsemancomics. Shop our TCG inventory at shop.4horsemancomics.com. And visit all 3 great stores in Morgantown, Bridgeport, and in Waynesburg, PA.
See, I got that Bridgeport now.
Yes,
it
yeah,
was
you fixed that.
Clarksburg.
Yeah, you fixed it. Because
It only
Meadowbrook
took us
Mall
months.
is technically in Bridgeport. Thank you. Spock. What did Spock say? Technically correct. That's the best kind of correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a Vulcan. So we're gonna take turns sharing a few quotes from a movie maybe you've seen.
We'll see who can guess this movie first.
Yes. But
So
we can't talk about it.
Yeah, we can't talk about it. But
First rule.
I'm going to give you the first quote here. You know why they put oxygen masks on airplanes? Oxygen gets you high. In a catastrophic emergency, you're taking giant panicked breaths. Suddenly, you become euphoric, docile. You accept your fate. It's all right here. Emergency landing, 600 miles an hour, blank faces, calm as Hindu cows.
Did somebody turn the lights off? Because it just got dark in here. You are not a beautiful and unique snowflake. You are the same decaying organic matter as everything else. We are all a part of the same compost heap. We are all the singing, all dancing crap of the world.
It's only after you've lost everything that you are free to do anything.
That's true. That one's true. The first soap we made from heroes' ashes, like the first monkey shot into space, without pain, without sacrifice, we would have nothing.
Man, I see in Fight Club the strongest, smartest men who ever lived. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's that guy.
Oh, that's right. I see all this potential, and I see it squandered. Expletive deleted. An entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy stuff we don't need. We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no great war, no great depression. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our great depression is our lives. We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'll all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact, and we're very, very pissed off.
Did you know On a long enough timeline, the survival rate for everyone drops to 0.
And did you know, when you have a gun in your mouth, you can only speak in vowels?
Uh-oh. This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. That's true, you know.
I believe so.
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.